Tales of MI7 is a limited series of espionage novels which I wrote between 2011 and 2021, and whose overall purpose was to probe the main concerns of contemporary Britain. That purpose became clearer as the novels piled up, but by the fourth book, The Eastern Ukraine Question, it was established. Only one thing remained to be done. In order to keep the evaluative viewpoint steady, I had to create a small number of recurring characters. Espionage thrillers trade in fixed types. Front and centre, you've either got an action hero like James Bond, or a jaded intellectual loner like George Smiley. If as an author you stray too far from those alternatives, you'll end up in a different genre. Stick too close and you'll look derivative. The challenge was to avoid those pitfalls, but also to create something resembling real 21st century adults. So there's an element of cliché in Tales of MI7, but hopefully a stronger element of reality. John Mordred is the protagonist in all the novels from the Eastern Ukraine Question onwards. An idealist and a mystic, he much prefers diplomacy to combat. His co-workers sometimes accuse him of overthinking a problem, which he finds annoying, and rightly so, since it makes him a good detective. He's a team player, but good at arguing his corner. When his colleagues get fully behind him, it's not because he's charismatic, although he may be, I don't really explore that, but because he's persuasive and dependable. Ruby Parker is the head of MI7's Red Department and in charge of the team. She's been in British intelligence since the 1980s, a process that began with Our Woman in Jamaica. She brings out everyone's best by force of example and the maintenance of a strict professional distance. Without her, it's likely that John Mordred would be in a dead-end job, perpetually fantasizing about his next holiday. Phyllis Robinson resembles Ruby Parker in having both feet firmly on the ground. She does, however, have a manifest sense of humour. She's a Conservative, a Tory by conviction, and a Brexiteer, and at one point she considers leaving MI7 for a career in Parliament. If Tales of MI7 was to successfully chronicle modern Britain, it had to respect the fact that political truth isn't necessarily easy to come by, that even if it were, good people may believe controversial things, just as bad people sometimes hold good views. Annabelle Gould is the closest thing in this series to an action hero, by which I mean that she's skilled in weapons handling and martial arts. She comes from a troubled background. Her father was a notorious criminal, and she suffers from the legacy of that. She sometimes tries to compensate by being a too loyal orders follower, otherwise she's entirely driven by reason. She's serious by disposition and 100% devoted to MI7. For her, this isn't just a job. Alec Cunningham's roughly a decade older than John Mordred and helped recruit and mentor him. He occasionally aspires to be an alpha male, which can make him obnoxious, but he's basically a decent guy. He's jaded in a way Mordred isn't. Is he a has-been? Not yet. Although, of course, we're all has-beens eventually. He's much more of a stereotypical spy than Mordred, and they're partly for that reason. That is to emphasise that Mordred's not your archetypal intelligence agent. He's better. Tariq Al-Bana is MI7's network manager and a computer expert. It's an office-bound role, and he's not a hacking wizard. He has a slight inferiority complex, but the others respect him as an integral member of the team, which he genuinely is. He just has a desk job. Edna Watson is one of the newer, younger members of MI7. In her former life, she was an Olympic athlete, and her celebrity gives her access to areas others would find off-limits. She joined MI7 at the same time as a more minor character called Ian, with whom she's in an on-off relationship. This is new Ian, not to be confused with old Ian, whose last appearance was in Encounter with ISIS. She has a good sense of humour. Outside Thames House, John Mordred's sisters play a major part. All four are politically left-leaning anti-Brexiteers and highly intelligent. Hannah's probably the most important. She's the manager of a rock band and radically egalitarian in her tastes and outlook. She appears throughout the novels. All the sisters do, more frequently than one might expect. The final book in the series, the spin-off, is all about them. And those are the characters, just the main ones. All very different, all very likeable. Whether or not they do what they're supposed to is another matter entirely.